Hello and welcome to another edition of the Eternal Journey. I'm That Resolves, and this is a new edition in the new player series where today we're going to be looking at the Xenan Life Force deck. So first off, we're going to be taking a look at a deck you could build in the first couple of days of playing, and then we're going to look at one maybe a week or two later, and then the final point for the deck where you're going to be able to hang on the ladder with the best of us. So first up with the beginner version of the deck. So first off, we'll start with the rares, and we've got the Catra the Devoted, which is a staple of this type of deck. And what Catra's going to do is, with the Life Force ability, Life Force is going to trigger whenever you gain life. She's going to put a +1/+1 on all of your units, including herself, and that is a permanent bonus as well. It's not just for the turn. So this is really powerful when you've got a deck built around gaining life. Well, it's got Banish, which is just one of the better removal spells in the game, and this is set to only get better because in set 4 we are going to be getting the Xenan Crest, and that's going to mean there's going to be a bunch more either Xenan or Xenan adjacent decks. There's not too much to say about this apart from it's just really good. It's just going to keep you alive and deal with any sort of relics that are a bit of a nuisance. I've also got the Dream Snatcher, which is just a really good body. It's a 2/3 for 2. You can also replace this with Cabal Cutthroat if you want, which is just a 2/2 lifesteal for 2. Well, the Dream Snatcher is really nice, and it's got some synergy with some other cards we've got in the deck, as well as having a game-ending ultimate as you get to pay 10, and then your opponent will discard the top 15 cards of the deck. So if you've had like a bit of a board stall, you should be able to maybe even win this way. And every time your opponent discards a non-power card, Dream Snatcher is going to get an additional 1 power. And this is partially why we've also got the Sabotages and the Vara's Choices in the deck, because this is going to be another way just to boost up the power on the Dream Snatcher. So when you have like a 3/3 or a 4/3 lifesteal, it's going to be pretty easy to be out of range of the opponents if they're just trying to beat you down. But the overall strategy of the deck is to get one of your enablers in place. So we have like the Ancient Bauble over here, just playing 2 because I don't really like the card, but it's good now while you've got a little bit less access to lifesteal units. Got Dream Snatcher, of course, Oasis Seeker, which when that attacks, you will gain a life. That's going to trigger off your Life Force. Got Temple Scribe, so when this enters play, gets to gain a life, that's going to trigger Life Force as well. I've also got the Lumen Defender, which is a little bit of a spicy inclusion, but if you are on the lower levels of the ladder, so you're in like bronze, silver, this is still going to be really good. And if you're able to pair this with the Capture the Devoted triggers, it's going to be really difficult for your opponents to get past this after it's had a couple of buffs. And then the payoffs we've got in the deck, so we've got Cult Aspirant, which is a 1/1/1 with Overwhelm, which doesn't sound super exciting, but whenever you gain life, Cult Aspirant's going to get +1/+1, and again that buff is going to be permanent, and it's also going to stack with the buffs that you're going to get from Catra. Got Cabal Slasher, which is an interesting unit as well. This was buffed quite a while ago now, so used to cost 3, not cost. And whenever you gain life, Cabal Slasher gets that much in terms of power. So it's a 1/3. If you gain 1 life, it's going to be a 2/3. And if you gain like 5 life, it's going to be a 6/3. So if you are gaining lives consistently, this is just going to be bigger and bigger and just be able to trade up or just deal your opponent like 1,000,000 damage. Next up, we've got the Premonition Wisp. This is going to pay you off with a 4/4 Restless Radiant, because on the face of it, a 3 power 2/2 doesn't look very exciting, but when it's 3 power for 6 powers worth of stats, it's pretty decent. And of course, when we really want to have more bodies in play, just because Catra does get better the more stuff you've got basically. So next up, we've got some things in play just here, just to keep you alive. So we've got the Scorpion Wasp. It's just going to be doing a very good impression of I Am the Abductor, where it's just going to be popping in and just blocking whatever big unit your opponent had and just killing it dead. And I've also got the Blistering Wasp here, which is pretty good at keeping you alive, just a 1/3 flyer with Deadly. And then the rest of the deck is just sort of filled out with more interactive ways of dealing with your opponent's stuff, so like the Annihilates, the Discard Packages, and then later on to try and ground the opponent out, if they're able to deal with Capture the first time, we are able to Dark Returner, or if we do have anything else that's got a load of buffs, like maybe even the Cult Aspirant, say it's like a 6/6 or a 7/7, we'll just get to Dark Return that back, and the Overwhelm should be able to finish the game for you. Unfortunately, the power base isn't going to be very good because Xenan doesn't have a crest yet, but we get to play the Amber Waystone just as another free way to gain some life. But we're also playing the Amethyst Monument here, as the 5 power for a 4/4 Puma with lifesteal still pretty good. You feel free to go up to a second copy of this if you want to, but I think I really suggest like the 1 for now. I really like monuments in decks that can't play crests because it gives you nothing to do if you do flood. But let's take a look at the second version of the deck, and this is where you're going to be hoping to get up to in the next week or so. The additional rares in this are the Beckoning Lumen, and Beckoning Lumen is a great card when you're going to be gaining a bunch of life, because what Beckoning Lumen has is Life Force. At the end of your turn, if you gained life, draw a card. So you can see how this is just giving us more robust ways to just use the life gain synergy that we've got here just to be able to bury our opponent, and if we're not able to do it in just huge stats with Catra, then we're able to do it by just drawing a bunch of cards. I've also got the Lunamagus because Lunamagus is going to summon Nightfall, and when you start your turn at night, you get to gain 4 life. And if you're playing against any aggressive Nightfall decks, then this is still going to happen, and it's going to be very hard for you to get beat down. The stats on Lunamagus are also really good. As a 3/4 for free, this is going to be pretty hard for your opponents to try and get through with, like things like Oni Ronins or even Champions of Glory. And because you are gaining life as well, then Nightfall is not much of a downside for you because your opponent is going to lose life for sure, and so are you, but you're also going to be gaining a bunch of life. So it's basically going to be a lot less of a cost to you to get those extra cards and keep the game going in the direction you want it to go. So I've cut the Amethyst Monument in this deck just because we do have a couple more 4s and we just really want to be able to curve out properly. But with just having a smaller amount of depleted sigils in our deck. We've also gone up to the 4th Sabotage, and I believe we've picked up an extra copy of Virus Choices because now you've been playing a while, you've got an idea of what cards you don't want to be seeing, so we're going to be a lot easier to play with the Sabotage and the Virus Choice. But overall, there's not too much to say about this build of the deck. We're just going to go onto the completed version and see what we can do from there. Okay, so this is the completed version of the deck, and you'll notice that we've got not only a campaign card here, but we've also got a Mythic, and Iron is a really good legendary card. And this is going to really tie the deck together because you get to sort of ambush this in at the end of your opponent's 3rd turn, and then on your 4th turn you get to play like either the Beckoning Lumen or the Catcher Devoted, attack with the Iron, and just be able to enable that trigger either way for the making everything bigger or for the drawing a card. The Devoted Urge as well is just like another in-play way of gaining life here, because you do get to pay 6 to give Devoted Urge +1/+1, get to gain a life, and if you've got something like a Catra or a Beckoning Lumen in play, you are going to get to trigger them again. But overall, though this deck isn't very well represented in tournaments, people do like to play decks that revolve around gaining life and being able to do something with that life gain, rather than just being at like a million life and being unable to kill your opponent. You are getting ways here where you're able to get a little bit of value off that. And if you are playing against a bunch of fire-based beatdown decks, then you should be in a great position here, because when you're playing down cards like Iron and Lunamagus, then they're going to have a really tough way to try and get damage through to you. So more interesting things here is that because you have Iron and Banish, it's very difficult for your opponent to choose which one they want to play around, because you do get to hold them both up at fast speed. And this can sometimes make a more savvy opponent just be a little bit more cautious about what attacks they're making. So if they do make an attack and you've got both, you get to punish them with the Banisher instead. And that's just like a really nice spot to be in with this deck. So let's take a look at some of the other cards that you can play here. So we've also got the Sadistic Valkyrie here, which is from the Tale of Horrors Travel, which is actually a really good campaign. I would recommend going out and getting that. The final 2 campaigns, so the Tale of Horrors Travel and the Dead Reckoning, are just some of the best and going to help you have a bunch of staples for decks that are on the ladder right now. But Sadistic Valkyrie doesn't look super impressive because it is just a free one for free. But if you get to gain life at any point, this is going to get lifesteal as well, and that's going to make it not only a really good threat in the air, but it's also just going to be able to trigger all your stuff every turn because it is flying. And when you get to pair this with cards like Catra, you're just going to get it out of reach of your opponent pretty quickly here. I'm also a fan of the Colony Matron, which is a promo card, so this one costs 600 to create, and this is much better if you want to play like a really grindy version of the Xenan Life Force deck, and perhaps even play something like the Xenan Obelisk to pair with it. But the Colony Matron is, at the start of your turn, she's going to play a 1/1 Vampire Battle with flying and lifesteal, and if you're in a board stall, this is really difficult to beat, because you've got a Life Force sort of bonuses for gaining life as well. Then you are able to turn those bats into actual cards, and bonuses with the Catra and the Beckoning Lumen. For another sort of budget free drop that we've got for the deck as well, we've got the Disciplined Amanera, which is a draft all-star actually, but anything that is a draft all-star is definitely worth investigating and constructed. And this is going to have a similar effect as the 1-drop Cult Aspirant, where when you gain life, the Sabled Amanera is going to get +1/+1, and this is going to really help if you want to play a type of Life Force deck that's just going to beat down your opponent and just get really huge off all those life gain triggers. Another card that's really good as a budget replacement for one of the 4-cost Life Force sort of payoffs is the Xenan Fanatic, and it doesn't look super good on the base rate as being a free 1 for 4. But if you are playing a build that's more centered around actual huge boosts of life gain, this is going to be able to burn your opponent out pretty quickly. As if you do play this with like the Water of Life, then you should be able to trigger the Life Force twice. This is going to deal 6 damage to your opponent at the end of the turn. And other cards like the Night Watch, which is going to just gain you a huge chunk of 8, is going to be able to pretty much spell lights out for the opponent pretty quickly. And here we go, the Blood Calling Invoker, which is similar to the last card, is going to be really good if you're just gaining bunches of bulk amounts of life. So again with the first watch card that's going to gain you 8 life, over here with the Blood Calling Invoker in play, you'd get to make an 8/8 at the end of your turn, which is no small feat, and it's going to be quite difficult for your opponent to overcome, especially as you basically didn't spend a card to make it. Of course, there are some other inclusions you can make in the deck. If you're playing against a lot of Mactos or other sort of Justice decks, you can play In Cold Blood, and that is, well, spoiler alert, another reason to pick up the Dead Reckoning campaign. But overall, I like this deck, and I do pick it up from time to time on the ladder if I'm playing against a bunch of fire-based beat decks that don't have too much interaction, as I feel like this is pretty good against them, and it's easy to sort of get yourself up the ladder in those ways. But as always, thanks for watching. I've been That Resolves, and this has been another edition of the New Player Series. And if you have any more feedback, or if you've got any sort of decks that you'd like me to feature, then please feel free to get in touch. You can catch me in the comments on the YouTube or on Reddit or Discord. See you around.